In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the parking brake shoes on this Dodge Ram 2500. We'll have to take the brakes apart for this, so let's get started. If your vehicle has these covers on the lug nuts, take them off with a pry bar. Be careful not to scratch the wheel. Once you pull this off, you can take all of your 24mm lug nuts off. Wheels up. With those off, remove the wheel. With a 21mm socket, remove the 2 bolts that hold the caliper and bracket assembly onto the rear axle. This one's off, but I will thread it back in a couple turns so that I can hold the caliper for me while I remove the bottom one. Remove the bottom. Take the top one off. Once you take it off, be careful because the caliper is fairly heavy. It'll come off with the pads and everything, and you definitely do not want to let it hang on that brake hose. So what I'm going to do is flip it over like this and jam it right between the shock absorber and the differential, just like so. And for safety, I will be using a bungee cord to strap it here. That way it doesn't come off. I don't want to put any pressure on that brake hose, because if I do, it can damage it. Next, you're going to want to remove the rotor. Sometimes it gets stuck. If it's on the face of the hub, you can hit it with a hammer. Or if it's the parking brake shoes, you're going to want to work it back and forth and loosen them up. This one is not that stuck. It is moving, so I'll just have to work it sideways, up and down, and slide it off. There it is. So obviously we have some issues here with the backing shield. I'm going to fix that, but usually there's a pin holding this up. It would stay like this. If it was still held on, you'd want to pry it aside, get the adjuster out from the top. There it is. And that should release pressure off of the top spring. There's that. At which point you would still have the shoe attached on the backing shield with that pin. Mine is no longer here on this side, so I can show you how to do it on the other side. That spring just fell out, so this shoe is ready to go. So let's move to the other side and take it off of that pin. So here's what the pin and the spring is supposed to look like. If you use the hub as a leverage point, you should be able to pry this from the back side, spin the pin. There we go. Remove the pin. This shoe should also be free to go now. And obviously this is supposed to come out the back side, but I'm going to remove it this way and obviously replace that backing shield. Now you can pry these apart, and that should allow you to remove them off the bottom. This spring comes out if you just twist the shoes like this. All of my hardware is surprisingly in reusable condition. It looks like it's somewhat new here, so I'm going to reuse it. But if you have rusted hardware and you cannot reuse them, definitely replace all these springs, the pins, and everything. Before we continue, let's add a little bit of silicone paste or brake grease, whatever you're using for your brake grease, onto the little raised areas of the backing shield, as well as down here where the shoes ride. This is going to prevent squeaking from happening as the brakes operate, or the shoes operate when you engage the parking brake. And you're going to want to do this to both sides. Don't put a lot on. If you put too much, it's actually going to just melt and kind of get all over here. You should be using high temperature rated grease anyway, but if you do actually put too much, it will run down. Having said that, let's get the shoes on. Get the new shoes, and if you have new hardware, mine is, like I said, in good condition, so I'm reusing it. As you can see, the curve on the end of the spring follows the curve of the shoe, so you want to put it on that way, not the other way. I'm not even going to go in the other way. Swoop it into that cutout at the bottom and lay it down flat. On the back side, this is what it should look like. Like I said, it'll follow the curvature of the shoe. Take the other shoe, and slide it in the same way. This is what you'll end up with, and you have to put the spring on before you put the shoes on, otherwise you'll never get the shoes or the spring onto the vehicle. Having said that, I'm going to basically spread them apart now and clamp them over the backing plate here. Okay. All right, so I have one of them. I have this one lined up on this side. I'm going to leave them like this, and I will lock this shoe in with its locking pin so that it can stay on to the backing shield. That way I can then use a pry bar on the other one and get it up into place. I'm going to install a C-clamp here to hold the shoe for me. If you just can't get it to line up, this is going to be your next best option if you have one. Don't make it too tight, just a little snug, just enough to hold it in position, and then try again. Get that pin through. Get the spring on. Try to pry the spring. Okay, I got it through. Try to twist it to lock it in. It's not fully set yet, as you can see. It has to go 90 degrees, but there we go. That's in. Release the clamp. The shoe should stay in place. Perfect. Now with this shoe clamped on tight, can't go anywhere, so we can grab onto this one. We have to pull it out, up, and back in, just so it can hook onto that parking brake lever, or the pivot point down there. That's all that's missing at this point. So this is what you're looking for on the bottom. When you're done, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is that pivot for the parking brake. It's supposed to be hooked onto both sides. Right here, the shoes have a cutout. And on the base, where the parking brake shoes actually sit, they're supposed to be flush and basically locked into their cutouts here. Once again, if it doesn't look like this, take it back off or fix whatever needs to be fixed. Otherwise, these will not operate properly. Might even get stuck between the rotor and the shoe. I'm going to choose to use the C-clamp on this side as well, mostly because it'll give me an advantage. I'll be able to hold everything a lot better and install it a lot quicker. This side you can actually hold with one hand, so if you don't have the C-clamp, it should be easier, but the C-clamp still makes things a whole lot easier. So I'm going to use it. Now if you have a large set of locking pliers, that would work as well, like welders locking pliers maybe. But whatever you can use to hold this shoe in place should benefit. Remember not to make it very tight, just snug, enough to not move it, otherwise you'll start bending things. Slide the pin through and the spring. Press on the spring. Try to twist the head of that pin. Now, keep in mind, if you actually pry on it or twist it too much, you can snap the head off and then it won't lock in. You'll need a new pin. This is fully locked in though, so I can release my C-clamp. And the shoe should stay in place. There it is. At the top, let's put this spring in. It has two little holes. It's the only holes at the top. Just hook it in and make sure it's not going to fall out. And the adjuster goes in next. This one is covered in grease already from the previous person that serviced it, so that's great. I'm going to leave it. A lot of times this gets seized up in here and this little cogwheel won't spin anymore. Try to unseize it, lubricate it with high temperature brake grease or silicone paste, whatever you're using. And then you'll see these large cutouts here. That's where the adjuster has to go in. So I'm going to have to start it in by hand, and then I'm going to grab a pry bar, pry this open, and get the adjuster in. You can also use a screwdriver if that's what you have on hand. There we go. As long as the adjuster is collapsed all the way, threaded in, it shouldn't be that difficult to get it locked in here. Take the parking brake cable, hook it into the parking brake adjuster or pivot lever here on the bottom. Make sure it hooks in like that. And to get this spring pushed back, what I like to do is grab some locking pliers. Obviously don't completely crush it, but if you just pinch it like that, when you pull it towards the bracket, the locking pliers will stop the spring, push it outward, and that'll give you space to get the cable right through this opening here. There we go. That's in. Make sure you push it in all the way so it clicks and these tabs lock in. Before I continue, I'm going to use a wire brush and just get all of the debris on this loosened up a little bit. It's not very rusty, but it was quite oily, and there's a lot of gunky oil buildup on the surface of this hub, so I just want to get rid of that so I can have a nice clean surface for my rotor to mount on. If yours was extremely rusty, you're going to want to sand it down with a little sanding disc, but of course don't remove too much material. Hopefully a wire brush is all you're going to need. Once you're done, rinse it with brake parts cleaner. Dry it off with compressed air if you have access to it. I'm going to coat the surface of the hub in anti-seize. I recommend you do this after you clean it, otherwise it's bone dry and it will continue rusting. Try to avoid getting it on the lug studs though. If you do, no big deal, just wipe them off. Wipe these off a little bit, and then we should be all set to finish installing our rotor. Install the rotor. Perfect. Remove your bungee cord now, or whatever you use to support it. Remove the caliper, flip it over and put it on top of the brake rotor. Line it up with the two bolts that hold it on. I have my bolts handy, so I can start at least one of them on. Once one is started, you should be able to let go because it'll be held on. That way you can start the other one. Start them by hand so they don't cross thread. Once they're on, tighten them up. The torque for these is 145 foot-pounds. That's torqued. Let's get the wheel back on. Put on all 8 of your lug nuts, bottom them out in a cross pattern, and also in a cross pattern, we're going to torque these to 140 foot-pounds. Once again, 140 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. If you want to double check them, go ahead. And now, if your truck still had this lug nut cover, make sure you put it back on. Snap it in place, pump up that brake pedal, and take it for a road test.